Everybody, happy Friday. How are you today on this unfortunate, gloomy, and rainy day? I hope you are all well, and I'm really excited to be here. Just a couple words of warning because there's a lot of noise going on around here. Our neighbors are pulling out some bushes from their house, so there's lots of chainsawing and wood chipping and all that stuff, and my dog usually goes for an outing during the lives, but he's not today. He's in the house, so if he barks at something, it's going to be loud. You're going to hear it, and I apologize in advance. So now that we got those two announcements out of the way, let's get right to it. Thank you for joining me. As always, I'm always so grateful to be here and have the opportunity to speak to all of you about some incredible topics, and I hope you're really and truly getting a lot of valuable information out of these lives. And I hope you're having fun the way I'm having fun. I know a lot of the topics that we discuss are serious, but at the same time, I try and bring a positive outlook to everything. I try and bring positivity and light because I know that some of these topics that we discuss are heavy. So I really always want to put a positive spin on it. So as always, I really want to thank you for being here. If you are here live, say hi to me in the comments. I can see them. Winning. Okay, let's get a move on. I'm going to pull out my notes. Today's topic is an interesting one because we are talking about highly sensitive people, or HSP. And as always, I want to encourage you to participate. If you have a question, put it down in the comments. If I do not answer it during the live, I will absolutely respond to it right afterwards. Hi, Sherry. Welcome. Sherry is new to our group, to our community. So if you get a chance, give her a big ol' hi in the comments. Yes, and Krista. Yes, hi, Krista. Krista's also new to the community. Welcome, Krista. And Krista actually had a really great question that she posed for us. I'm going to answer that, Krista, in the end. And of course, Heather, my sweet, wonderful cousin, is here. She's one of my biggest supporters, and that's very exciting to me. Okay, now that we got the love out of the way and all the announcements, let's move on. So the reason I wanted to cover this topic was because I talk to, like I said many times, I talk to so many women that are part of the community, that aren't part of the community, and they always sort of say the same thing to me. We all have this thing in common where we've been told throughout our lives that we're too sensitive, or we cry too much, or we need to buck up, or just stop crying and all this stuff. And I think a lot of that is societal, depending on your age range. I know for me, I'll be 41 in 10 days, and I definitely grew up that way. I had my parents telling me that, people around you in school, they called me a whiner. They told me I was too sensitive. And for the longest time, I was ashamed of that part of me. I was ashamed that I cried at commercials. I tried to take medication to drown the tears. I've done everything. I did everything I could to try and push that side of me down. And at one point I was like, wait a minute, why am I trying to hide this beautiful part of my personality? My emotions are what make me who I am. So, and then it also came to light that I came to know I was an HSP, or a highly sensitive person. And once I found out that information, it was like, ding, a lot of things made sense. So my question to you, and something you can gnaw on while we go through this, is, does extreme sensitivity actually equal weakness? And if your answer is yes right now, I promise you by the end of this live, you will see the beauty in your sensitivity, and you'll be able to start seeing the positivity and the grace that comes with having that extreme sensitivity. So, but if the answer right now is yes, don't worry. We're going to get you away from that, I promise. So I really, in talking about this particular topic, a lot of the thoughts are my own when I put together these lives. Yes, I draw information from certain places, but for the most part, I use a combination of my own thoughts and what I find during my research, because I do research all of these topics very heavily. So personal experience and research. For this one, because it's such a new topic, I really wanted to do it justice, and I wanted a lot of the information to come straight from the source. So I will let you know what stuff is mine and what stuff I found during my research period and let you know. But I thought it was important to really stick to the facts with this one, because I want you to have an overall understanding of what it truly means so you can know if it applies to you. So just as a caveat before we go forward, everybody's level of sensitivity is different. Some people are more emotionally sensitive. Some people are tactile, have tactile sensitivity. Some people have more sensitivity to smells or food. Sensitivity means different things to different people. And as a highly sensitive person, it doesn't necessarily mean emotions only. This can apply to a lot of different things. So I want you to keep that in mind as we go forward. As always, this live is for you if your entire life you have been told that your emotions are ridiculous. And if you're nodding your head yes right now, you are in the right place. As I said in the beginning, if you've ever heard the words stop crying, buck up, or I'm just teasing, or it's not that serious, this live is for you, because I mean, those words should just be banned, to be honest. That's my own personal opinion, but we're not here for my opinion, are we? If other people's moods affect you, this is an important one. Hi, Alicia. Alicia's raising her emoji hand. If you take on the emotions of others, or you find you're around different people and you, like, if you feel fine and then all of a sudden you feel anxiety because the person beside you is feeling anxiety, you're going to want to keep listening in with this one for sure, because it's likely that you are an HSP, and I will probably call it HSP moving forward, highly sensitive person, if you've just joined us. If you have spent the better part of your life feeling as though your sensitivity is a weakness, you are right where you belong, right here, right now. If you make it a point to avoid watching violent TV shows, the news, if you just can't take it because you really and truly can feel what is happening in those media sources, you're in the right place. If you've heard the term HSP before, but you're unsure if it applies to you or not, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you've ever wondered if your emotions are normal or wished they were different, come on in. Allow me to welcome you, all of you. So those are just some of I like to start it off with knowing the reason why you're here. Obviously, we know this now, so let's move right along. There we go, sorry. For some reason, I thought I wasn't recording and it scared the heck out of me. Anyways, I know I am, so we're moving on. Let's do the definition of highly sensitive person. So from verywellmind.com, they define HSP as a term for those who are thought to have an increased or deeper central nervous system sensitivity to physical, emotional, or social stimuli. This is a sensitivity to stimuli specifically. So as I said in the beginning, it doesn't matter if it's emotional, if it's physical, if it's tactile, if it's, taste or smell. It's a heightened sensitivity that's deep within your core. It's a part of who you are. Number 2, another definition is someone who experiences acute physical, mental, or emotional responses to stimuli, meaning it can be external or internal, which is what we just talked about, right? So there is an innate sensitivity within all of us, okay? All of us are sensitive in one way or another. Some of us hide it better than others. Some of us have, are just kind of keeping it within still. That said, even though some of us are going to be sensitive to some degree, not all of us are HSPs. Highly sensitive people are heightened sensitivity. That's the difference here, right? So let's talk about some facts about HSPs. And I actually got this from hsperson.com. And the doctor who actually developed this particular terminology and coined it is a very famous psychologist. Her name is Dr. Elaine Aron. She is the person that coined this term and provided a lot of the facts that you're going to be hearing about today. Funnily enough, this was only really coined in 96, which is not that long ago. I mean, we all like to think it was a long time ago, but it really and truly isn't. So for any time before 1996, all us little HSPs had no clue that this is what was happening to us. We actually thought there was something wrong. So let's normalize what it means to be an HSP, because if there's anyone out there that has felt that there's something wrong with them, I want to give you some hard, solid facts so you know you're not alone. We already know it was coined by Dr. Aron in 96. Approximately 15 to 20% of the population is considered highly sensitive. 15 to 20% of the whole population is highly sensitive. That is a whole heck of a lot of people if you really put that in perspective, right? So you have a heightened ability to read others and pick up on subtle social cues. So you actually might consider yourself a bit of a detective, or your friends will have said, man, you can sniff out the truth at any time because you're highly sensitive to cues. You can detect things that other people can't see, right? You notice far more than other people do. And I know for me, I used to get teased all the time by my family because if you moved a book on my bookshelf, I would be able to tell the minute I walked into a room. It's like my eyes would beeline me, like that is out of place. If somebody touches something in my office, I will be able to see it immediately. You are hypersensitive to things that other people aren't sensitive about, right? So if that applies to you, if people touching your stuff drive you nuts because you like everything to have a place, You are probably an HSP for sure, but that's also okay as well too, being able to notice all these little minute details. But here's the thing, because you notice everything, you are going to be easily overwhelmed. Does that make sense? Because you have an overactive ability to pick up on stimulus, to process things cognitively, you're going to get overwhelmed more easily because you're not working the same as everybody else is. Everyone else is just like moving about their day and they notice some things, they don't notice other things, but you're hypersensitive and you're processing constantly. Your brain is constantly processing at a rate that's much higher than the rest of the population, or probably those around you, right? So keep that in mind. If you feel overwhelmed often, and there is a reason for it. There is a scientific reason as to why this is happening. It's a physiological reason as well too. Your body will become more tired. You will naturally need more rest because of this overprocessing. Okay? Makes sense? Check? Check. And another fact is HSPs are often misunderstood. A lot of people, assume that HSP equals shy, and that's not necessarily the case. Highly sensitive people can be extroverted, they can be introverted, they could be ambivert. An ambivert meaning they need equal parts in solitude and social gathering in order to fill their cup, right? So you could be either or. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are shy. So also keep that in mind as well too. You can be very sensitive and still be outgoing. That is a thing. It doesn't necessarily mean you're quiet and reserved. Although it does mean you probably need more downtime and quiet time to be able to regulate yourself or bring yourself back to homeostasis. So being an HSP, friends, it comes with challenges, but it also comes with advantages. And the advantages, I think, in my personal opinion, now that I've learned about it, far outweigh the challenges. So some advantages are you're highly empathetic or clairsentient, meaning you can just feel what other people are going through, which is amazing. If you're a friend with somebody that has this gift, has this talent, they can sense how you're feeling, or you can sense how they're feeling, and you can put them at ease almost instantaneously because you can feel it before they even know it. You're more creative, you're intuitive, which, man, I mean, if you're new around here, I'm like in love with intuition. Me and intuition, we're like this. It's my favorite thing. I did a whole live actually on intuition. If you want to watch it, it is under media and videos. You can find it there. You are in tune with the needs of others. That's another huge advantage that we just talked about. But the challenge is, because we're consistently processing, you're going to have overwhelm, you're going to feel exhaustion, and you're going to feel burnout at some point. So it's good to notice when you're at those limits, and then you can pull back and draw back and find that solitude for yourself and refill your cup so you can go back to equilibrium. So the main traits of being an HSP, I'm going to break this down for you. And these, again, I got this right from hsperson.com. These are according to Dr. Elaine Aron, who was the developer who coined the term HSP. And she focuses on 4 main traits. I'm going to go through them now. And it's the, what is it? It's not an anagram. Is it an anagram? DOES. Anyways, you can remember it by thinking of the word does. I should have thought of that before I jumped on here, but no matter. So number 1 is for D, because remember, does, DOES, depth of processing, which we talked about earlier. You process information far more deeply than others. So for example, if you're given a name or an address, you will spend so much time committing it to memory, saying it to yourself, drawing on your patterns and your ability to make links in order to be able to remember it. So you're probably a good person to have around when you're in the car, because you're likely going to remember that address more so than your partner who is not an HSP. You commit things to memory because of that processing. You have a depth of processing. Number 2 is for O, meaning overstimulation. Because you are a cognitive processing machine, you will end up feeling overstimulated a lot of the time in a variety of different ways, because you're consistently thinking about details. You're consistently looking and scanning the room and noticing things nobody else notices or sees, right? So it is going to happen, and the key is to notice when it's happening for you, and it's going to look different for each and every one of us, right? And to be an HSP is to take in all aspects of the world with heightened awareness. You notice details others cast aside, carefully contemplating their meaning. And I love that description. That is actually my own words. It came to me while I was writing this, and I'm like, this is such a perfect way of putting together what it means to be a highly sensitive person, for sure, because you notice things that other people won't. And I think that's really incredible, as much as it is tiring sometimes. Am I right? Number 3 is for empathy. A heightened reaction to both positive and negative experiences. So when there's a positive experience, if you think about it, if there's something to be joyful about or elated about, maybe you're having a birthday, a wedding, a celebration, you're going to experience that in a more heightened fashion. You're going to feel the energy of other people around you, and you're going to pick up on it, and it's going to uplift your spirits, and you're going to feed off it and have a really great time because of it. But this can also be said for the negative side, right? If you are in a negative environment, if you are in a toxic environment, if you are somewhere and people have been fighting, even though you don't know they've been fighting, you can feel that in the air, and it will affect your mood. It will affect how you react, right? So, and no, this goes beyond what people are actually feeling. It's this ability to absorb it. Not only do you feel what they're feeling, you absorb it, and then there becomes this question like, is this mine? Does it belong to me? Does it not belong to me? And there's kind of some confusion around that. So that's important to know too, as far as empathy or clairsentience goes. You're actually absorbing those feelings of other people and taking them on as if they are your own. And we're going to talk about how to determine that later in the live. Number 4, and the last one of the 4 traits, is S, for sensitivity to subtleties. You notice sounds, smells, tastes. Your senses are heightened. You can probably smell toast burning or popcorn burning before everyone else can. And I have a funny story to share with you about this, because we have a dog, obviously I mentioned that, and I can smell dog pee before the dog has even peed, I swear to God. Like, and I'm consistently smelling dog pee, and nobody in the house smells it except for me, and I'm consistently searching for it. I still haven't found it, by the way. I will let you know. But it's like that hypersensitivity, even to something like a smell. You will notice it, and you will not be able to rest until you find it. It just is a part of who you are. And that might be kind of sucky sometimes, especially in my case, when you cannot locate the pee smell, but it's just simply a part of what it means to be an HSP. So I want to discuss next why this is a freaking superpower. And I tried actually to post a video in the Facebook group about what your secret superpower is, but it wouldn't upload because that's just my luck. Anyways, we've been conditioned by our society to view sensitivity as a weakness, which I talked about earlier today, and I asked you if you thought your sensitivity was a weakness. Very few people celebrate this. Everybody seems to be of the assumption that this is a problem, that if they cry too much, it's a problem, that if they're moved emotionally, it's a problem. This is a gift. This is a superpower. And I want us to all start to celebrate what it means to be an HSP and what the benefits are, what the positive things are, so that we can start to reframe our thinking around it, right? So let's change the narrative, friends. Let's flip this on its head and start to embrace what it means to be sensitive. Because number 1, you create comfort for other people. We talked about this earlier, because you're naturally empathetic. You are gifted at making other people feel comfortable. When they come into your home, when they're feeling at their worst, you have this incredible ability to uplift, to see the positive light in other people, to make them feel comfortable. People often will probably tell you, oh, I love coming to your house. You always make me feel so welcome and comfortable. That is part of what it means to be an HSP, because you naturally understand what they need in that moment and can provide it. You're also probably better at doing this for others than you are for yourself, but that's a whole different topic. Number 2, you are an antenna. Even before the people around you know what they are feeling, you've already picked up on it. You've already sensed it. You already are the queen of energy and vibes. You might not even know it yet, but you are picking up on the energy and vibrations of other people. You are that tuning fork, that antenna, and you can feel if anything is off before even the person who is feeling off knows they're feeling off. You already know it, which is really, really powerful, because it then helps you create that comfort that we talked about first, right? That's the reason why it's such a superpower, because you can create comfort and give them what they need because you're this antenna. Number 3, you're the peacekeeper. You always know the right words to say to soothe conflict. People, you might have been in your family the person that was always the peacekeeper, that's always able to come in, see both sides of the story, and then bring them together on a level playing ground where they're both understanding and everybody wins. You know, you are adept at making people feel that they're heard and understood. Powerful stuff, right? Powerful. Number 4, cue the intuition. Yes, my favorite. Your gut instinct is sharp and you might not be connected with it right now. Maybe you will have left your intuition to the side and you have not, really explored what it means to have your intuition speak to you, or your gut instinct, or you haven't learned to rely on it. If you are an HSP, your intuition is strong. It is natural and it is innate because you pick up on all the details. You are a cognitive processing machine, which means your gut instinct has tons of patterns to base off. So when your intuition tells you something is off, there's already so many patterns that are within you that you know that you can rely on that intuition. So and others might have said to you, hey, you seem to have like spidey senses or like psychic tendencies, like you know what's coming. A good example of this, and I am super guilty, my fiance probably hates this. When I'm watching a movie or a TV show with him, I'll be able to be like, yep, she's the murderer. Yep, this is what's going to happen. Yep, these two are in love. They have a connection. I can see it happening before it's going to come. And I swear to you, he rolls his eyes at me consistently because you're just in tune with what's going to happen. And you can pick up on subtle cues, even in movies, without even really having to work that hard at it, right? Number 5, you are a gifted writer or speaker. You are eloquent beyond measure. People are likely blown away by how you communicate. And if they aren't blown away by how they communicate, it's because you're hiding that communication. You're hiding that beautiful gift. You're not allowing others to see it. But again, that's a whole different kettle of fish, and that has everything to do with maybe your confidence or your self-esteem, right? So there's an underlying factor at play there. Number 6, you're equal parts lover and fighter. And when I say fighter, I don't mean a physical fighter. I mean, you are a person that is going to stand up for what is right. You are not going to let things lie. You are an absolute advocate. If you see injustice in the world, if you sense that there is something going on that isn't right, you are going to stand up for it because you are not going to let another person suffer because of someone else. You're going to stand up and you're going to fight for what is right. And just the same, you love so hard. The people that are within your circle are like, she is so loyal. She's so loving, caring. She would give you the shirt off her back. She would do anything for you. You're equal parts. Both sides of the coin, right? It's an incredible gift. Number 7, you're inspiring because you can build people up when they're at their lowest points. You're an inspiration. Not many people can do that. Not many people have that ability. You are encouraging people. You're illuminating things for them. And even though you might be hard on yourself because you think, well, I'm not doing this for my own self, but I can do it for other people. Celebrate that. It's huge. It's huge. I love it. Keep inspiring people. Number 8, liars don't stand a chance. You are a detective. We talked about that earlier. You can sniff out a lie like nobody's business. You can pick up on the person's cues. You can hear the tone in their voice. You can tell if their voice is cracking. You can sniff it out like nobody's business. So nobody's getting anything by you. They can try, but it ain't gonna work. That is terrible grammar. That's not my HSP side coming out. That's me That's me just trying to keep it light. Anyways, number 9, the world needs your light. The world needs your light, especially now. Rise up. Embrace this gift. Show the world your sensitivity with pride. We need it right now. We need HSPs. They are being called to show themselves so that they can help heal this planet, because we are in a place where, morale is low. We're all beaten down. We need HSPs to uplift others. We need them more than anything. But to be an HSP is to be very tired very quickly, right? So I want to flip it from all of these amazing superhero, superpower things and get into how you can protect your energy. Because we know as an HSP, you're going to be picking up on everybody else's stuff. And I want to separate their stuff from your stuff. And I want us to be able to continue seeing this as a gift as opposed to seeing it as a weakness, right? But because we're highly sensitive, it also leaves us open to energetic vampires. Have you heard this term before? Yes? No? Maybe? An energetic vampire, and I'm going to read the description here because I don't want to mess it up, is a person who drains your emotional energy, whether they are doing it intentionally or not. They will leave you feeling drained and absolutely void of energy. They are typically dramatic, judgmental, live in victim mentality. They're one-uppers. You know what a one-upper is? So if you say, yeah, I got this really cool mug, they'll be like, oh yeah, I have 17 of those mugs. I collect them. That is a one-upper. Now that is just a little tiny example, but you get what I'm saying. And they will minimize your pain. And they'll say things like, oh, you have a headache? It's not that bad. It's just a headache. But you're over here like, this is a bloody migraine. I feel like I need to go and rest for the next 16 hours. And they will minimize the pain. So that is an energy vampire. We want to protect our energy from people that are like that so that we have energy to use on the people that truly need it. So let's talk about it. The first thing is first. And if you watched my live on anxiety last week, this was one of the things that I had provided as a tip to know about your own anxiety. But the first question you have to ask yourself, if you're starting to feel overwhelmed, like you're going to cry, overly emotional, if you have anxiety that's coming on out of nowhere, if you're feeling angry for no reason, but you're fine, ask yourself, does this belong to me? Literally ask yourself, is this my emotion? Is this me? Is this happening within my own body, or does this belong to somebody else? Because even that small fact alone will cut it off. You'll be able to recognize, wait a minute, I was perfectly fine. This isn't my anger. Who's got the anger? Whose anger is this? Joe? Joe, this is your anger? Okay, take it back. Thank you. Ask yourself, does this belong to me? And if it does belong to you, then okay, yes, you can accept it. You can work through it. You can process it. But if it's not, you need to send it back to them. I send it back to you. See you. So that's one way. Number two, if you know, and we talked a lot in the group about what happens when you're in a crowd, and there were some interesting responses. One thing you can do if you know you're going out into a crowd and you're going to be around a lot of people is you can ask for a ball of light to go around you. And you're probably wondering, what does that mean? If before I'm going out, I will always say, I'll call upon Source, God, the universe, whoever it is that, you believe, whatever it is you believe, I will be like, Source, please protect me with a glowing ball of positive, energetic light. I ask that this light surround me completely and entirely, protecting me from the energy and emotions of other people. And what this does is creates a barrier between you and them, so that when you go out, imagine yourself with this big bubble of light all around you, so that energy cannot penetrate your auric field. You're actually protected. And it starts with intention. And I know it sounds silly, but try it on for size. You will see a big difference. Hi, Joanne. That's okay. There'll be a replay. Even if you just got here, that's no problem. And number two, another one I like similar to the ball of light is the pyramid of mirrors. I will also picture myself sitting in the middle of a beautiful pyramid that has mirrors on the outside, and the mirrors are reflecting out this way, not within, out. And I will ask, Source, if there's any energy or emotion that does not belong to me, I ask that it be reflected off the mirrors, sending it back to the source with love and light, right? That way you don't get the energy, the negative energy that's coming from other people or the nervousness, and you're sending it back to them with love. So it's a win-win. You're protected, but they get that negativity back with love, okay? Another great one, and I know I'm going through these fast, it's because I'm almost at 30 minutes. I don't even know how this happens. Brushing negative energy. So when you come back from an event or an experience or the grocery store even, and you feel that energy kind of on you, you can do a brushing technique, and it looks like this. But before you do the brushing, I need you to envision a big like fire pit almost. It's important that you envision the fire pit, because if you put the negative energy onto the floor, your dog will pick it up, or your cat. So you're going to brush the energy off, and you're going to imagine you're putting it in the fire pit, the white light fire pit. You're going to brush your energy off and put it in the white light fire pit. So this gets rid of that negative energy, but doesn't leave it lingering in your house for your pets, your grandma, your mom, your dad, your kids to pick it up, because they will. It's very powerful. Okay? Keep your circle small. We all feel like we have to have like 9 million billion friends, but that's not the truth. Keep the people that want what's best for you close to you. Keep the circle small. And cut ties with people that are negative in your life. There's a lot of negativity out there. And if you have people in your life that are consistently bringing negative energy and want to bring you down and haven't done work on themselves, it's time to cut ties. You have to decide who has earned the right to sit at your table. And I say this to my clients all the time. Have these people that are in your life earned their place at your circle, at your table, at your Knights of the Round Table. And if they haven't, it's time for them to exit, because you're too sensitive to that negative energy to keep them there. Say no when it doesn't feel right, friends. Say no. No is an answer. No, I don't have time for that. No, I don't have the bandwidth for that. It's going to be important, because if we try and do too much, we are going to continue to overprocess and become overwhelmed, right? Embrace solitude. We need time to rest and recharge. So if your body is calling for rest, if your body is saying, okay, I need to spend some time just chilling out and just resting, that's what you need. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to ask for permission. In fact, it's self-care to take that rest because you need it more than anyone else. And know your limitations. Respect them. If you know you can't stay at a party for 5 hours because it's going to drain your energy, but someone invites you and you want to go, just say, hey, thank you so much, Sandy, for the invitation. I can't stay too long. I can stay for about an hour and then I'm going to have to come home. Just know your limits and respect them, okay? So those are just some of the ways you can sort of manage and deal with some of the overprocessing that comes with being an HSP. Now, Krista asked a question in the group. And it was this. She was talking a little bit about how she cries at inappropriate times and how she can't really control the emotion sometimes, and it's a little bit embarrassing. And I know there were a couple other people that were like, yeah, that happens to me too. And I've been there. I want you to know I've been there. And here's the thing. Number one, the fact that your emotion is coming up for you, it's not a problem. Okay, this isn't a problem. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You are an emotional being. You are a sensitive being. So that is just a part of who you are. Now, with that said, we need to understand the root of the emotion, because typically if something is happening and you're crying a lot at work, there's a story there. And I want you to ask yourself, what's the story? Is it because you have been given some sort of constructive criticism, or somebody is trying to tell you, you haven't done your job right, or whatever it is, and there's something coming up that you haven't processed? Maybe you've never felt good enough. Maybe you've always struggled with self-doubt and rejection and fear, and that's the story that's coming up, and that's what's actually triggering the emotional response. We have to understand if you're just feeling emotional because that's who you are and you're an emotional individual, or if the emotion is coming up because there's something there that's not processed, because there's something there that needs to come out. Because, and I know for me, when people would give me constructive feedback at work and I would start to cry, it was because of a story I was telling myself that I wasn't good enough. And to me, this was just evidence to suggest the same. So it could be one of those two things, if that makes sense. So you really need to understand in that moment, why am I having these feelings? Why am I becoming emotional? Is it because I'm just hypersensitive and it's me being a beautiful HSP that's causing this? Or is it because someone's telling me something and that is rooted in something that I haven't dealt with? And it could be self-doubt. It could be, worrying about what other people think or what other people say, or proof that I'm not good enough. We need to really understand that. And hopefully I've sort of answered that question, Krista. If I haven't, or you have another question, send me a message and let me know, and I'll try to answer it better. But before I log off for today, I saw a lot of conversation in the group when I asked about how you feel when you go into large crowds, about people worried about what others think. And this is very common. And it broke my heart, because I've been there too, worried about what people think, if I'm dressed right, if they're looking at me, if they're teasing me, if I speak, are they going to make fun of me? And at some point I just realized, and this is going to sound funny, that people are too busy thinking about themselves to think about me in that way. So I want to leave you with that thought. People are probably exactly like you are. Like, while you're thinking and wondering if they're judging you, they're thinking, oh man, is she judging me? And does my clothes look right? Do I have toothpaste on my shirt? Like, are they going to make fun of the things I'm saying? So people are often not thinking about you as much as you think they are, because they're too busy thinking the same things about themselves. So try and find compassion in those moments, and know when you're in those big crowds, a lot of what you're taking on as a highly sensitive person are the feelings, thoughts, concerns, worries, nervousness of other people. So that's why it's important to ask yourself, does this belong to me? But don't worry about what other people think. You are light, you are love, you are unique and incredible, and you are a beautiful, beautiful soul. And people deserve to see you for what you are. People deserve to see you living your greatest expression of yourself. And I'm going to try not to cry, but I am an HSP and I'm hypersensitive. So what can I say? I embrace that about me. And if I'm having an emotion, I'm going to show it to you, because it's important for me to practice what I preach. But if you are an HSP, oh, Shannon's here. Hi, Shannon. Shannon, I know you'll go back and catch the replay. Sorry about that. I just noticed I had a comment. But if you're struggling with this, if this is something you're looking for support with, please reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. I want to get in a conversation with you. And if it's something I can support you with, if it's something I can support you with by working one-on-one together, let's explore that just a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't have to be scared. I don't bite. Not at all. I promise. What you see is what you get. I'm exactly like this on over Zoom as I am right now. So if you're considering what it might be like to work with me, if you're wondering if you can work with me with regards to your emotions and how to work to embrace them, or your self-doubt, self-confidence, reach out to me. Let's have a quick chat about it. But I have gone way over. I thought to myself, this is going to be a short one today. Not the case. It's because I'm so passionate. That's what it is. Anyways, my friends, if you have any other questions, if you have any concerns, if you need something, if you have questions for me, please let me know. And I will see you next time. Have a great weekend, my friends.